The next step after we get our piece set in our vise and have our indicator set up is to actually go in here and indicate to find the center of this part. That's going to be important because that's going to determine how far I have to offset from the center to get each one of these steps on my piece. So I started out just by kind of eyeballing where the center of my spindle would be on the center of my part. And you notice if I come down here close to the top and I go to bring this around, you can see how the needle is way off the part in the back, but whenever I come around to this side, it would actually be touching the part. So that's telling me that I'm still a little bit out on center. So I'm just going to eyeball it so that it's a little bit closer. Okay, once I get fairly close, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my needle down, my indicator down, and I'm going to touch on my part. And I'm going to pick a number here that I can kind of reference to. It's on the 10 right now. So I'm going to reference to the 10. And as I spin this around, I want to keep it on that 10 the whole way. So you notice as I go over this way, the needle really starts climbing up. So that's telling me that I'm too far forward. And I'm also too far over this direction here. So see, we're not touching here. If I put my needle back to where it's touching, and I come around, the needle's pegged already. So that's telling me I still need to come forward. I still need to come over this direction here. So I'm just going to kind of keep roughing it until I get a little bit closer. What you could do is you could take a reading on the front, you could take a reading in the back and see where it's touching and split the difference. That also would work. It's about 5 here. Okay, so you can see how we're starting to get pretty close. Over here, when I'm at this side, we're going to get it to where the needle's reading about 10. I come over to this side, the needle's up a little bit above 15, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and split that difference here. I'm going to come over here, I'm a little bit above 10, I'm about 10 on this back side. So I want to put it to where it's about 15 in the middle. 15. I'm going to come back a little bit. So we're 14 there, 14. Roughly it's about 14, between 14 and 15 the whole way around. So we're about 1/1000th of an inch. And on the outside of this, it hasn't been machined yet, so we may have a little bit of variation on our size because it hasn't been machined, but for demonstration purposes this should get us close enough within about 1/1000th of an inch. Once we're within about 1/1000th of an inch, now we're ready to go in and we're ready to set up to actually machine our part.